Okay, welcome everybody. Hi. So here we are on Sunday, every Sunday at 2 o'clock, as long as everything's working out, we get together as a community to radiate love out into the world and to be together in the vibration of the beings from higher dimensions. Most of the time I channel the Archangel Raphael, which I've been doing for 33 years. And today we're going to tune into Archangel Michael and his beautiful big wings and protective energy. And we're going to talk about timelines. So if you're new to this process, when I channel, I close my eyes, I kind of rock back and forth and my hands move around. I look a little bit ridiculous, but that's how I tune into those higher frequencies, and I bring through the being at the time that we are connecting to support all of you and our community during these times that we're all in right now on the planet. And this is every Sunday and it's free. So I'm inviting you to invite other people to join us on Sunday and to be here. So if you know people that are in your community that would benefit from connecting with this energy, please share the information and the emails with them. It's not a closed community. It's not a secret. It's for everybody. All right. So any other announcements? The next light code is the Ascension Timeline light code, formerly named the Keeper of Time. I think people had a hard time wrapping their mind around the Keeper of Time. The Ascension Timeline key code is going to help us to really understand time and to how to merge with higher timelines, the timelines where we're moving into the fifth dimension. It's definitely an advanced key code. I really hesitated whether to open it up to everyone or not, or just those in our membership, because you need a little bit of preliminary work behind you. It'll be very high frequency and lovely, but you just have to be open and ready for it and feel like, okay, I'm ready to work with those types of vibrations and to move into much higher timelines. So if that's resonating with you and you want to do that code, it begins on February 13th. It'll run for 2 weeks. You'll be live with me. You'll be able to have Q&A, personal interaction, connection. I will be channeling, we'll be doing processes to meet higher timelines. So if you want to get on that path, or that's something that resonates with you, please go ahead and register for that code. Remembering that as an I Am member, you have access to all the codes to date. So ultimately, that's a much greater value, even though it's a little bit more expensive, because we've done 11 codes already, and you can go back into all that material. And there is volumes of depth of information and vibrational updates and so much that's there if you want to delve into that, if that feels right to you. Okay, so I am going to channel and bring in Raphael, and let me make sure we're all muted again. I think I unmuted people. And we'll get going, okay? So I love it when it hits 333 for 1 second.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
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 Oh, oh. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. We are very delighted to be here and to commune and to connect with all of you from our perspective and our realm, as I am here communicating in the way in which I can as Archangel Raphael, and yet my dear friend, should you say, as Archangel Michael, who often we do not attune to his vast and magnificent and beautiful protective energy, is here today and has been invited to connect and to bring forth protective energies for you at this time. It is that you are moving very rapidly, very quickly. You are moving at such a rapid pace through your evolutionary change that we recognize. For many of you, it can feel as if the rug has been pulled out from under you, or you can't quite get your footing, or you're feeling a bit unstable, and you are wondering what is next or what's going to happen next. And there's a lot of collective energy and anxiety that is floating through the field. And so we want to remind you of who you are. We want to remind you that you are powerful. We want to remind you of your choice to choose particular timelines, to choose where it is you're going to align your thoughts, your words, your energies, your intentions, so that you are on the line, in the framework of time that is moving in a direction that is in alignment with cooperation and connection, with unity, with love, with understanding, and with peace. And yet we must also address the fact that this cycle that you are in and have lived through and have experienced and has been recorded in much of your history is coming to an end. It is that you are in the intervals, in the space of time that is at the end of a cycle, where a new cycle will be born, where a new beginning will happen. And we often talk about it as if you are giving birth to something new, as if you are going through the canal, and as if you are in the canal now. And in the canal, the contractions can be overwhelming, they can be stressful. And as you get closer and closer to the birthing process, the contractions become closer and closer together, more intensified as you are crowning, literally crowning into higher dimensions, moving through the crown into other realms. And so it shows itself to you in your current events as events keep coming, and you just start to recover from a world event or a personal event or a feeling or an emotion or a change, and then boom, another one comes, and you begin to integrate that, and boom, another. And sometimes they're coming so quickly that you choose to fully disengage from them because you cannot even keep up with them, nor do you want to, because energetically it is overwhelming. And so we feel and sense that from you. We feel this feeling of overwhelm, this sense of these contractions coming so quickly. And yet we continue to encourage you to not escape from it, not to dwell on it, but to be present with it, to embody it, to know that from our perspective, one of the ways perhaps to describe it to you is that the program that you have installed from a projected aspect of your higher self that is projecting your current reality is coming to completion, and you are reprogramming it, you are rebooting it, you are putting new codes in. And that's what the codes are, in a respect, new coding that is familiar and present and been there, but needs to be dusted off, needs to be seen, needs to be remembered, that's at a higher frequency, that will begin to run a completely new program that is in a different dimensional experience, in a different reality that is being born. And so there is, in many respects, glitching happening in the programming that you have been familiar with. You have been familiar, and for those of you who perhaps in your physical form are more elderly or have lived a longer period of time, you have been very saturated, very involved, very embedded, and have embodied a particular program, and that program in which was very stable, in which you understood things to be a certain way, in which you knew the world to operate, is shifting and has been shifting, and it is accelerating in its change. And in that, many call you waking up, becoming aware and conscious of the program. That does not mean that the program itself inherently was wrong or was bad, or to labelize it or polarize against it or to shun it. It simply was and is now outdated. But it served its purpose, and much came from it. And in many regards, it was much easier because it didn't allow you to have to question or to wonder so much. You were more or less going along with the program. That was the program. Those were the rules. That's how it worked. That's what you believed. That's what was said. And so you operated within that framework. And as that framework is glitching, as the program is running down, as the program is dismantling itself and new coding is being put in and you are being upbooted to a new system, you find yourself in a territory that is unfamiliar, as if you are on a bridge between worlds. And that is exactly where it is that you are. You are between the worlds. You are in a cycle of time that goes around and around, and in that cyclical time, you now are at a place in between the dimensions. And so for those of you that identify as light workers, or that are consciously awakened or aware or attuning to higher frequencies, you're more and more conscious of the fact that that programming is dissolving. But we want to remind you the importance not to judge the old programming so much, not to become polarized against it, not to fight against it, because it's nothing to fight. It is something you put in place. It is your creation, but you're now creating something new. You're emerging from it. You're evolving from it. You're unfolding. You're awakening. You're expanding as in relationship in the mirrored reflection of the universe itself, ever expanding and evolving. And so you find yourself at the brink of this collapse, and the collapse is the breaking down, the deconstructing of the programs, whether that be economic, whether that be medical, whether that be education, whether that be climate, whether that be government, all of these different systems that were part of the program. The glitch is happening, and you're seeing through it as if a bleed through is happening. And as the bleed through is happening, you are starting to get glimpses of different realities, meaning a recognition of what is projecting the matrix itself, which is the higher I am that I am self, a looking at the projection of the essence, the trueness of who you are, that is the projector of your reality, and recognizing that you get to choose that new projection. You get to choose what we talk about, the timeline. You get to choose the new development, the new programming, the new matrix, the new energy that you're going to be embodied in, that you're going to walk through in, that you're going to experience as your experience, as your reality. And so we want to come today because the energies and the intensity of it keeps coming in like this. And then there's this wondering in the ego mind, well, what's going to happen next? And when is it going to end? And when are we going to reach this new age, this golden place? When are we going to go into this fifth dimension? What is the time sequence? And yet time is the underpinning of the energy that is underneath the program itself, that allows you to navigate points, to have an understanding so that it is not completely all occurring simultaneously. And yet a part of you is able to tap into that quantum simultaneous holographic energetic field where it is all occurring at once, where it is where we are in the angelic realm. We do not operate from time nor space in the same way in which you are operating in the current program. And as the program of that projected reality begins to dissolve itself, you are feeling a change in time. You're feeling what many of you call a speeding up in time, or more of an observer of time, or moving outside of time, especially if you start to have bleed throughs or begin to tap in temporarily fully into fifth dimensional frequencies. You recognize that the programming that you were aligned with time is no longer operating, and that can be very disorienting. So you're feeling very disoriented because of this crack in or glitch in the matrix, in a sense, in the program. And so these chaotic nodes that are all over the program are popping up everywhere. And as they are popping up, they become overwhelming. And in this deep contracting and overwhelming, it forces you to be present. Because if you think of the next contraction that's going to come, you cannot breathe in the interval where you need to breathe to expand in order to ground, in order to give birth to the new reality. So it is the intervals in between the segments of the contractions where the opportunity for change occurs, and the reprogramming of the matrix in which you are creating. So this is happening, and there is nowhere to hide from it. There is nowhere to go. And you might say, well, in my reality, if I were to unplug from the matrix, unplug from social media, unplug from the news, unplug from everything, and I were just to be in my world, everything is the same. Nothing has changed. But you must ask yourself, is that true? If you were in a cabin and you are out in the middle of nowhere, and you are growing your food and being in the moment and reading and sewing and connected with nature and present in the now and disconnected from the larger larger collective vibrational programming, would you notice that there is something different? Would you notice that there is a change? Well, yes, of course, because you would notice through the cycles are changing, the climate is changing. You would notice the seasons are different. The time in which you plant is different. The budding of things happen at different times. The weather is different. You would notice a change in the streams, in the water, in the fish. You would notice a change in the insects. You would notice a change in the trees. You would notice a change in the clouds. Of course, there is nowhere to hide. It is occurring and affecting all living forms on life. In life, experience and expressing themselves are all connected. And so the minerals and the plants and the fish and the animals, they are all also aware and conscious on some level of this great shift, this change. And some are able to adapt to it and others are not. And so the adaptation for the human experience is to begin to be able to move into a different way of perceiving, a different way of operating, a different way of connecting with one another, and to dissolve or disconnect from the energies that were the original incentives of the old programming. And so anything in your energetic field that is still in alignment with that old programming, that is still plugged into it, it needs to be unplugged. And that is something where you can call upon beings such as Michael, who is very powerful in the uncording and unplugging of energies, whether it be with a dysfunctional relationship or with the collective consciousness or to an old program in the matrix. He may come in and support you in doing that, and also bring a shield of energy that holds you, protects you, so that you can move through this process with this frequency. And so that is what we're wanting to do today, to invite Michael's energy, as my energy as Raphael is here for healing. And the healing that I share and bring is physical, but it is also emotional, it is spiritual, it encompasses the whole of who you are, to transform and awaken parts of self, to move into your highest self, your greatest self, the truest aspect of who you are. And Michael does the same, but he brings with him tools, and these tools are comforting. His wings are large, his energy is expansive, his color is cobalt blue. He is powerful and energetic. He is strong and vital. He is very masculine, and he contains the energy. He comes in wielding his sword of light and saves the day. He carries a heroic energy. He is one to rush into a fire and pull out a screaming baby. He is there to protect you. But he too, just as you, just as I in the angelic realm, and all the galactic energetic beings from dimensional realms beyond your understanding, are evolving as you are too evolving. And so has his perspective and way of supporting and loving and protecting and caring for you also evolved, as well as the program in which you perceived him from, and the way in which you saw him as an outside energetic source that would come and keep you safe, is also shifting, because it has to shift in the way that you perceive him, because he is shifting, and all of it is shifting as you are moving into the new paradigm. And so we can work with him if you are wanting, unless there are some things in which you're wanting to talk about or ask of me at this time.
Hi, Archangel Raphael. So I think that one of the first things that I want to ask about is what can we do in these intervals of time, in these contractions, to optimize choosing the highest timeline for ourselves?
Recognizing where you have to change, recognizing what the repetitive and repeating patterns in your own life are, and noticing that the time in between the pattern repeating itself is your opportunity to grow, your opportunity to change, your opportunity to have conscious self-awareness, your opportunity to reflect, your opportunity to own your part, your opportunity to release victimhood, your opportunity to stand in your power, your opportunity to be authentic to who you are, your opportunity to wake up to your highest self, to take full responsibility, to become and to be the creator that you are, to align with your true north, to stand in your power, to awaken to your essence, to live your soul purpose, to disconnect from fear, to move into the presence of the now. All the teachings that we share with you all the time, to utilize that time, that interval time that you are in, to be reflective, to grow, to expand, to heal, to forgive. To forgiveness is enormous in this. Love is enormous in this. Gratitude is enormous in this. For the three keys to ascension are love, gratitude, forgiveness, love, gratitude, forgiveness, over and over and over. And so it is that's the time, because if you look at your life, you will notice, and an example is when it's something very extreme. Let's say someone continues to be in a relationship that's abusive, or where someone is beating them, and they get out of that, and then next thing you know, they're in another relationship, and that's happening again. And another relationship, or they're in a pattern of lack and they get out of it, and then they repeat the pattern, and they get out of it and they repeat the pattern. So or they're in addiction and they stop the addiction and they're doing well, and then they repeat it again. So it is any repeating patterns in your life are a sequence of energies that are a theme, that are part of your soul's evolution, part of your contract, that are beckoning you, begging you, inviting you to heal. And once they're healed, in the interim of the next pattern repeating itself, it doesn't have to repeat again. And that cycle then is able to merge back into the oneness. And then something else may arrive in the evolution of your growth. It's as if you're moving this way along, that there's these spirals that are going this way along a tube. And the spiral that you see is the repeating pattern. And And they repeat in sequences that are in relationship to mathematical potentialities that keep presenting themselves. They repeat in the golden mean. They repeat in the golden ratio. If you go to a specific time in which the seed was planted for the programming in the lifetime from a wound, until that wound is healed, that programming will repeat. But you have the opportunity in between to heal. And so that is where you change the timeline. When you heal it, then you elevate into a higher timeline. And then another interval might show up of a different thing to heal. And then you heal that. And you continue in that reflective healing process. And you begin to operate then at much, much higher timelines, because you're fully then taking complete responsibility for the unfolding and the creation as the creator of your human experience. And through that, then you start to operate and fully align with what many of you may refer to, understand as your higher self, or the I am that I am presence, that is actually the one projecting your reality, and that the reprogramming is done in a conscious way. And you consciously are aware of the I am that I am presence as it is projecting that in which you are experience. And then what happens is, instead of delving into the in-between points within the wave, you begin to ride the waves. You are riding the wave within the field of the quantum vibrational energy that is flowing and through all things. It spikes, and then you ride it, and when it peaks, comes back down, the intervals become closer together, and you can move along it. And that's when many of you experience what you call magic or synchronicity. Things are showing you, or you're being guided, and you're conscious and aware that you are going and moving toward the right timeline. Well, what's interesting with this is sometimes what you might perceive as a timeline with another, or even with yourself, that is not in alignment with what you would think would be your highest purpose, is, because it's all ultimately is, of course, wherever it is of your highest purpose, but you can get caught in repetitive patterns in a lifetime, and sometimes for years and years. But when you're conscious and aware, you can move through those quicker into other experiences, and evolve and express and bring forward the highest potential of who it is that you are, in the recognition that you are paying attention to energies that are not always necessarily obvious, that you start to become aware of, that maybe are labeled as synchronistic or magical or signs, in a sense, that are coming from the higher self to show you, yes, you are on the right track, you are going in the right direction, or that was divinely orchestrated, or that was meant to unfold in that way. And in many regards, that can bring also a sense of comfort.
Thank you, Raphael. I think that really helps a lot. And so, in this breaking of patterns, you mentioned before that Archangel Michael's pattern when it comes around protection and fighting something is different. Can you tell us a little bit about, like, when we're quote unquote fighting the patterns, which we're not, or protecting ourselves from these patterns? How has that paradigm shifted in the evolution of the angelic realm, along with the evolution of the realm of humanity?
Oh, well, in the past, perhaps you would ask Archangel Michael to come and to bring you a shield, to put a bubble around you, to protect you from something outside of yourself. And what happens with that is it's a way of tricking you, not in a negative way, but then you feel protected, you feel safe, you know that energy is there. And in doing that elevates your frequency to a vibration that matches with, I am safe, I am protected, I am the right place, I am connected with the highest timeline, and then you are. But you
And
have
so it is.
what is it?
And so it is.
And so it is, but you have needed in the past for it to be something separate than you, to give you this sense of this protection, but that already is a vibration that you carry. You are simply aligning with that and then elevating to meet that in the belief that it is so. And the same thing with his sword of destruction, of severing that which was bad or labeled as wrong, is more a unplugging from a frequency that is no longer in alignment with who you are. And when you unplug it, you, instead of severing from it, you pull it into yourself and you embrace it. You bring it in, you love it, you embody it, you bring it into the fold, rather than looking at it from the perspective that it is separate or bad or wrong. It is simply a part of you that is vibrating at a lower frequency. And so it's a different way of recognizing that it is all really you, and that none of it is bad or evil, or it is a lower vibrations that are dense. And there has been embedded within the old programming that you're now unplugging from, a deep sense of competition, a deep sense of getting ahead, a deep sense of greed, a deep sense that I need to take care of, it's for me, at the expense of the earth, at the expense of resources, at the expense of others, at the expense of those who have less. There is nothing wrong with enjoying life. There's nothing wrong with embodying abundance. There's nothing wrong with expanding resources and sharing things and enjoying an abundant life. But that is different than taking from places when in what you are doing is hurting, and you're, especially if you're consciously aware that it is hurting the earth or others. And this whole way of thinking has gotten you into these deep, intense contractions as you're passing through into this new world. So it is the releasing of that old programming that it came from many of your philosophers, many of your scientists, many of even the Darwin way of thinking of survival of the fittest, that the ants were enslaved, and then focusing that the stronger ones use the other ones who were enslaved to do the work, and those worker bees provided for the stronger ones. That whole perception, that whole way of thinking is what has created so much pain, suffering, fear, destruction on the earth. And so a new paradigm, a new programming of cooperation, of community, of collaborating, of unity, of operating from love, of operating from a place I have enough, of gratitude for what you already have, of enjoying and embracing in the presence of the now, of not always looking to get more in the future, to strive to something other than what is. Those energies will be are deeply the energies that are propelling you into the fifth dimension, into the Ascension timeline. And so Archangel Michael supports you in unplugging from those old matrices, those old programmings of fear, of attachment, of greed, of not having enough, of feeling insecure, of feeling powerless, of being a victim. All of those energies from the old program need to be not only pulled out from their root, but then they need to be loved and embraced and held and seen and felt and inside, and so that they can be enfolded in the whole. Because when they are demonized, when they are seen as separate, when they are put down as wrong, when you have a polarizing view that you are right and they are wrong, and this is the way and that is the way, or I am a Democrat and I am a Republican and they are wrong and they are wrong, wrong and he is wrong and she is wrong, you think that you've woken up and that you see what's right, but in your righteousness, you are back in the program. And so it is a dismantling of all of that. It is a dismantling of coming together in a unified way, of finding where it is that you are operating from the heart center, from the inside the essence of who you are, that collaborates and cooperates together for the healing of your earth, for the healing of your resources, for the healing of the animals and the mineral kingdom, for the healing and the loving of one another. But it is the need to have more, the greed of the old programming, the ego of the old programming at any cost, so that I have my own thing, so that I am safe in my corner, in my castle on the hill, that has created such dysfunction. And it is that program that is collapsing. And as it collapses, it's pulling out from you lots of things that you are accustomed to and that you are familiar with, and forcing you to find your center, not from outside circumstances, but from within.
Thank you so much, Archangel Raphael. And so I just want to clarify this, and I don't think that we need a big answer. I think that we can go into the next portion of the call. But so when an old pattern comes to a place where maybe a lower vibrational activity or thing had happened in the pattern, it's less about fighting off that activity, but reframing that lower vibrational event through the lens of gratitude, of love, of forgiveness, and holding it no matter what it is, and letting go of the fear, the shame, the anger, the victimhood. And in that, we break the pattern rather than running away from the pattern. It's about pulling it in and switching your glasses, correct?
Yes.
Oh, great.
What a nice short answer from me.
All right. Well, I think that everybody here is really excited to go through this process with Archangel Raphael,
Michael.
with Archangel Michael. Yes.
All right. So with that, take a nice deep breath. Breathing in cobalt blue light and exhaling any discordant energy. Closing your eyes and relaxing your body, dropping into the presence of the here and now. Feeling and knowing that you, in this now moment, right here, are safe. That you have everything that you need, that you are breathing, that you are here in a body on earth as it is spinning this beautiful and magnificent jewel that you call your home. Coming into your body and grounding, moving the energy down, further and further down and into the earth itself, grounding into her, feeling her open and holding you, embracing you, and loving you as the beautiful, powerful mother that she is. Letting go, letting your shoulders drop and your eyes become heavier and heavier. Attuning now to your own energetic field and your consciousness, aware that you can move your consciousness with your intent wherever you are wanting it to go. Move it down now and into the earth, grounding deeper and deeper into her core. Begin to feel the beating of the earth. Begin to feel her energy. Begin to attune to her vibration. She would like to show you where you are now and what is happening with her. She comes to tell you that you are interwoven and deeply connected to her, that she feels your presence upon her, and that she loves you, even though often you forget about her and you forget that sometimes your actions are disrespectful. She still loves you. She is moving rapidly into a new place. She too is going through the birth process, and she is inviting you to come with her to move into a new formation, spiraling into another dimension. In this dimension, life is very different, and the colors are a bit different. You feel different. Time is different. You are more conscious and aware. You are more connected with her. You are more in tune with her elements. You are able to see the fairies and the divas and the elementals. You are able to communicate telepathically with one another. You are able to travel also along the earth instantaneously, and you create and manifest very quickly through your intent and your words and your thoughts. You are in alignment with the crystals and the gems and the library, beginning of a new cycle we referred to sometimes as a golden age. The cycle that you have lived on earth is coming to completion, and she is now unplugging from that cycle. In her unplugging, there is often shaking and disruption, but she wants you to know that you may also unplug from it, and it might cause shaking or disruption in you as well. But then together, you will walk across the bridge into and through a portal of light into a new dimension. This is the Ascension Timeline, and it requires a letting go of old ways. Imagine yourself now on a bridge. This bridge is a bridge between the old earth and the new earth. And you right now, as a collective, are on the middle of the bridge. You have not reached into and entered fully into an understanding or reflection or mirror knowing of 5D. And yet you are becoming more and more conscious of observing 3D from a different perspective, as if you are looking at it from a bird's eye view. You now are on this bridge. Many refer to this bridge as the Rainbow Bridge between worlds. Bring your awareness to this bridge and become conscious that you are on it. To your left is the world that you have known, and with it there has been great joy, love, beauty, comfort, and at the same time you see it is no longer working, for many have forgotten how to love one another. Many have taken more than their share. Many have disregarded the earth and her resources. Many have used their swords and their guns and their anger and their machines to hate each other, to kill each other. Many have taken and pocketed through greed what is not theirs. Many have hurt the fish and the animals, the lions and the elephants for their own needs. Many have enslaved others so that they could live in comfort. Some of this conscious and sometimes unconscious, but this can no longer be, for the collapsing of this is happening. Look to that left, to that earth, and the encompassing of all of it and all that it holds. And know now that it is time to begin to unplug from it as you stand on the rainbow bridge between worlds. As you look down from the bridge, you see the energy beneath you, the turmoil, the stress, the changes that are happening. And yet you are on the bridge, removed from it to some degree, but still aware that it is there. Archangel Michael is here today to come with his mighty sword of light and to disconnect you from any programming that is based in fear, any programming still based in greed, any programming still based that you are disconnected from the earth, any programming that you are unworthy, any programming of shame or guilt, any programming that you are a victim, any programming that you are not enough. Become aware and turn now your body to the old earth, bringing an awareness to your solar plexus. And notice the cords of energy connected to the old earth that are still resonating with the frequency of the old programming. There is no shame if there are many cords, for you have been embedded in this program, and it is expected that there would be many there. Aware of where you are tethered to the frequency of fear, where you are tethered to the frequency you won't make it, where you are tethered to the frequency and worry of death, where you are tethered to the frequency of disease and illness, where you are tethered to the frequency of loneliness and not being loved, where you are tethered to the frequency of a feeling your purpose will not be felt or seen by others, where you are tethered to a frequency of anything in alignment with the old programming that messes and connects to the frequency of fear. Just be conscious now and aware of it, aware of the roots in the earth that come from your solar plexus to that fear, aware where you are embedded, where you are programmed in the programming, where your beliefs are still vibrating with old ancestral wounds. Just notice it now. And with that, start to bring your awareness to those cords. And now start to notice Archangel Michael's energy. He is here right now and very present. It is a very expansive energy that is vibrating and twinkling with light and powerful radiant color of a cobalt blue. It is expansive and powerful, and he is here in the assistance of the breakthroughs needed to birth the new earth so that humanity may travel along the Ascension timeline into a higher octave, a new dimension referred often to and as 5D. aware of his energy. He may appear to you in form with large wings or a shield, beautiful carved face that is strong, chiseled, and handsome, with an open heart and flowing hair. He is extraordinarily powerful, but he radiates the vibration of love through his strength and bravery and courage. He is here and he wants you to consciously become fully aware now of your programs that are still operating and embedded in the old reality, in the old matrix, based in fear. As you become aware of them, you may consciously invite and ask him to support you in the releasing as he pulls out and severs them from the programming. Take a nice deep breath. You can show him as many cords as you want. And with your permission, he now comes in, yielding his sword, and severs them. Taking a nice deep breath, it is like tentacles now that are just wavering and flowing in the air. They have been cut at the root and at their source, and they are collapsing as if something dead is hanging from you. The debris of something beginning to decompose, and yet he invites you to embrace that decomposed energy, to sweep it up, to pull it in, to love it, to cherish it, to recognize it had its purpose, to bow in gratitude to it, to thank it for all that it has shown you and how much you have grown, and to say in deep gratitude and love for it that it can now return to source, which is part of who you are. It can transmute itself into light. With that, you stand now on the bridge and you look at the earth in the distance. It is still there and you love it tenderly, and yet you are not tethered to its old way. You are making a conscious choice in this moment to bring your awareness and energy to the new earth, as you have chosen to be on the Ascension Timeline, a builder, a creator, a birther of a new world, based in love for the earth, based in collaboration, cooperation, communication, unity, understanding, and peace. And so with that, bringing your awareness as you're still standing on the middle of the bridge, you are looking now at the new earth. It is glowing and radiant. It is blooming with flowers and radiant light, sparkling in the distance, but yet not so far. And as you turn your body toward it, Archangel Michael flies above you. And as he flies above you, he begins to fly around the earth and you, as he begins to merge your energies together with this new reality. As he is doing that, he is opening up a channel, an avenue, a pathway, a timeline that you may choose to walk along, that is in a frequency that is higher than those you have used up to this point, that is based in a new program in which you choose your processes, your thinking, your words, your feelings, your actions, all in alignment with unity, all in alignment with peace, collaboration, communication, connection for the highest good for you and all parties involved in the recognition of the web of life and the interconnection that cannot separate you and your fellow human or your fellow animal or species or plant in a distant place on the earth. You are connecting into a new matrix. This matrix is conscious. This matrix is alive. This matrix is aware. With this new ascension timeline, you're aware of how your behavior, your feelings, your choices affect others. You are aware that you cannot separate yourself from the collective. All of those who are choosing this timeline, this new programming, are choosing it consciously, meaning they are consciously choosing to be embedded on the nodes of this new grid that is formed and connected around the earth. You are elevating now into this higher grid system that is operating from this new way of being. This requires that you take into full and complete consideration whatever it is that you are choosing to do, and it affects on the collective as a whole. For you are now being blessed and initiated into a higher timeline. Working with this energy and merging it as you build the bridge to become more stabilized and stronger is the energy and work of the Ascension Timeline light code, so that you can bring into great stability the ability to now walk from the center of the rainbow bridge over and into the new earth, learning how to navigate that journey in a way that you feel supported and loved and held. Archangel Michael now holds you and places around you and all of those choosing to attune to this frequency at this time or at any time in this shield of light that is protecting and containing a container of energy that is based and holding this higher grid frequency. You now are participating in that. And with that also requires responsibility to move forward as a conscious and awake, loving, open-hearted, and connected being of light. Take a moment now and begin to calibrate to this new frequency and to your conscious awareness of this new earth. Aware that you are still on the bridge, as many on your planet are at a choice point in the intervals of the repeating cycle patterns of lifetimes, whether choosing or not to unplug from the old matrix, plugging into higher frequencies. All choices are divine and perfect and welcome, for there is no right or wrong way. But by being and attuning to this now, you are choosing a higher timeline. Higher meaning one based with more synchronicity, love, unity, understanding, and peace. While you are on the bridge transitioning and embodying this new frequency, as this earth starts to form itself into a palpable reality that can be experienced in your reality that you are currently holding, you may still be the witness to many changes that will be occurring and unfolding during and through the dismantling of the old programming. You are being asked to simply be the witness without judgment to the dismantling, recognizing that you are plugged into something else with the conscious intent to continue to hold a higher frequency without judging the breaking down of the old programming that was programmed by all of you, recognizing your participation without judgment, that it is all part of a greater plan, evolving into a new cycle of time, where time is the underlying energy that is the post that allows you to be able to experience this new realm that will be experienced from a different time frequency, based more in a holographic way, in which your language will also begin to morph and shift and change, as it will be more connected with speaking in a holographic way of ideas that are occurring in the presence of now, rather than identifying with past and future. The Hopi energy is present now, as Archangel Michael contains you here in connection from the Rainbow Bridge to the new earth. The natives of the Hopi tradition appear. They are here to thank you, to hold the vision for an earth and a planet where you love and honor the animals, the hawks and the snakes, the fish, the dolphins, the whales, the tigers, and all of the animals, bringing your awareness to the water, the air, and the fire, and your relationship to all living things. This timeline is one in which they have chosen, and they are now leading the way, along with the indigenous cultures, in the birthing and the remembering of returning to the stars, as it navigates and guides you through the new earth, as you build new communities that are born from new ways that are new and yet very ancient and old, as the star beings assist you in the creation and the rebirthing of your beautiful planet. And so it is. And with that, you maintain in the protective wings and dome of Archangel Michael's vibration, conscious and aware of the cobalt blue energy and mist that may show itself to you. As in our last communication and transmission, the rainbows appeared for many of you. Now be conscious and aware of the mist of the cobalt blue that will also show itself. We are bringing these types of signs to you to encourage and remind you that what we do together is happening, is real, and that you can begin to remember and believe again in miracles and magic. We invite you to expect miracles. Continue to hold a higher timeline. Many blessings and good day. All right. Thank you so much for joining today, connecting with that higher frequency as we bring the new earth and attune to its vibration. We're going to work with the timeline, Ascension Timeline light code. If you want to delve deeper into that and the stabilizing of the bridge, please join that, or our IM membership with all the codes. The more of us that are embodying all the light codes, the more we are aligning with the new light body and the new divine matrix that we are birthing collectively together. I love you all so much. Have a beautiful Sunday, and I'll see you next week. Oh, we have a special event, free event on Tuesday at 3:23 on 3223, which is another portal opening where we'll do some energetic work together for the earth. All right, lots of love. Bye, guys. I'll unmute you now. There we go.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Kelly.
Kelly.
Thank you.
Bye.
Kelly, thank you so much.
Thank you all. Love you so much.
Blessings to all. Yeah.
Blessings.
Thank you,
Oh, beautiful.
Great
Thank
to be here with
Thank
you.
Kelly.
Love.
Much love to all.
Love
Thank
you.
you.
Beautiful rest of afternoon.
Love you all.
Michael.
Much love, Michael.
That
Much
was
love, Raphael.
You're so crazy today.
Love, family. Much love, tribe.
Thank you, Kelly.
The earth to the earth, to the fire, to the animals. Blessings to you, Kelly. To you,
Love,
Casey.
love, love,
Blessings to you.
love, love, love.
all.
I love
Love
everybody
you,
talking
Kelly.
at once.
Blessings to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
So much.
You're welcome. Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you, Casey.
Yes, thank you,
Yes.
Casey.
Yes, thank you, Casey.
Casey's the best.
You're so quiet.
You're the best, Casey. Thank you.
That was really fun. Felt like a song or something.
Yeah.
was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
The energy is insane. It's amazing.
The energy is intense. Yeah. Everybody, drink
Lovely.
a lot of water, everybody, and take good care of yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I could barely sit
Thank
still.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Casey.
Thank you.
And
you,
thank you,
all.
everybody.
Love, love, love.
Love. Much love.
Love.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'm hanging up. Love, love.
Kelly, will we be sent an email link
Much
to
love.
the 3223?
Yes, I'll send an email. Yep.
Great. Thank you for everything.
you.
Much
Big
love.
hug, everybody. Big hug.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I
Love you all.
love you.
And we love you too.
Love you too. Take care.
Thanks.
Take care.
So much love. It's so nice. All right, guys, I'm gonna hang up now. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Send
Bye
them.
now.
Bye-bye.